Alright, it's Big Daddy Kuma time. Alright, I don't know why I said that right off the rip. But that is the big idea of this video, boys. We got Kuma is Bunny's dad. So that opens up a lot of information here. This could change the game drastically. So obviously, let's jump into what this means immediately. For one, the reverie stuff, it's way harder with how Bunny reacted. Because obviously you're seeing your dad in that state. You're going to be fucking fuming. But as I am a Vegapunk revolutionary, I feel like this hypes up the revolutionary army even more, because there is a possibility Bunny is also involved in the revolutionaries. Because it seems like Kuma, as an actual, functioning human being, cared about the revolutionaries. And if Bunny cared about her dad that much, I'd assume she's involved with the revolutionaries as well. And she even talks with Sabo in this chapter briefly. So I feel like we're going to hear that, or at least she might join in Kuma's stead now that he's not a functioning human or something like that. But I am very interested to see what Bunny has to do in the upcoming arcs, and if she'll basically be the law where she'll stay around for multiple arcs. Because it kind of feels like this is a one arc thing with her, but also she could be way more important than we're expecting, because this Kuma being her dad actually opens up a lot of different things. Because it makes you think, how is Kuma so important to Akainu that Bunny gets away with it? Because Kuma hated the warlords, Kuma hated pirates, and Kuma was the two of them. He was also a former revolutionary in their eyes, so the fact he would be scared of Bunny, even though the sort of things Kuma was up to, is a bit interesting. I don't know what this has to do with Akainu's past and shit. And considering her relation to Kuma, we can assume Dragon might have an interest in her in some regards, so this could lead to revolutionaries showing up at Egghead. There's various different things you could think about this entire topic, to be honest. And I hope we do get to see more about Kuma and his actual character, because the only thing we got to see, and I don't even know if this is his actual character, is the Thriller Bark stuff. And the Thriller Bark stuff was amazing. Really showed the way he views things and how he's respectable, and it led up to one of the coolest Zoro moments in the entire series. I also want to know, does Kuma have Conqueror's Haki? What type of Haki does he have? How strong of a person is he? It's also I want to know what Kuma, how important Kuma is going to be in the coming arcs, right? Because with all this information being laid and all the different topics we might be able to touch on in the coming arcs and all the different reveals that are coming up, and actually Zoro, it's interesting with Zoro because everyone's thinking, I saw a thing on Twitter where people were thinking he's going to ask Vegapunk about either the dragons from Punk Hazard, which is what I think that was Tekking's theory, or the smile fruits, but I actually think he might ask Vegapunk about Kuma himself, because I feel like Zoro has some, he knows about Kuma, and he might be a bit confused and stuff. Because obviously he saw Kuma in Thriller Bark, but does he know about Kuma protecting the ship? So he might be interested in Kuma and what Vegapunk did to Kuma, because I feel like he has some form of respect for Kuma. And it is possible Mihawk talked about Kuma's previous existence while he was in 2 years, because while he was in 2 years with Mihawk, because they are both warlords, and I'm sure if Kuma was the man that he comes across as when people talk about him, I'd assume Mihawk would have some sort of respect for him. So I'm interested to see what comes about that way, and how Zoro's going to be involved, because it feels like, unlike Wano, where yes, all the Straw Hats were important to some degree, besides Usopp, I guess, I don't know, it feels like every single character is being set up to have something to do or something to ask Vegapunk in this arc. Chopper is probably going to ask him about Caesar and stuff. Maybe he's the one who's going to ask about the smile fruits. Frankie, for obvious reasons, is very hyped to meet him and wants to know things about him. Robin wants to know about the history of the world. I don't know, Usopp is the only one I can't think of. Brook, I don't know. He probably will want to know things about his devil fruit and his powers, because he'll probably figure out more about himself that way. Usopp, I have no idea what his goal might be. Maybe he might ask about the gigantification and stuff, and I think a lot of it will be about past villains, and Sanji will probably learn about Queen and Judge and Judge's past and Sora and different things like that. So that will be big for Sanji. Luffy, obviously. Luffy being Luffy will probably get involved with Lucci, but we'll talk about that in another video. And Nami, probably weather science. Like, science is a very big thing for the Straw Hats. There's a lot of different topics they can touch on. So I feel like there's going to be mini plot points for every single Straw Hat in this arc. So part of that makes me think it's going to be a normal sized arc, you know, like a Fisherman Island Punk Hazard where it's 52 chapters. It's a full year's worth of chapters or something like that. But also, if it's going to be a 3 years, maybe even 5 years until the series ends, I think a full year on this arc probably wouldn't make sense unless something big happens here. So, depending on how you view this arc, this could either be a pretty chunky arc, or it might be a Zoe where it's like 20 to 30 chapters. Personally, I'm hoping for a smaller arc, so we can get the reveals quickly. And maybe that would give more room for like the Kuma stuff to be elaborated on. And I wonder if we're gonna, what we might get is if, like, for example, the Seraphim, because we know the CP0 are bringing the Kuma Seraphim, and he's somewhat flawed. What if this happened? All right, let me just drop a theory here for you while we're talking about Kuma and Bonnie real quick, right? What if when Vegapunk was making the Seraphim, the reason Kuma still has his normal hair color and his normal skin color compared to the changes that the Seraphim have, and he still has black wings, but he doesn't have the other Seraphim changes, is because Vegapunk, like, transferred the original Kuma's consciousness into a Seraphim body. But still, it wouldn't make sense for him not to change the hair color and the skin color to make them blend in more with the other Seraphim. So I don't know how he's going to explain that. It could actually be a failure, and they decided, oh, we'll tell it's a failure, and then we'll transfer the original Kuma's consciousness. So yeah, Kuma lost his original body, but the Seraphim is still going to be Kuma himself, and he's going to be the only one who's actually the original Kuma in the Seraphim body, if that makes sense. And that's how I feel like we're going to get Kuma back. Because I feel like we do know Vegapunk in some regard cares for Kuma, right? Because he let his wishes be known, and he let him guard the Sunny for 2 years. So I really don't know where this could go and what Vegapunk's going to do, but I'm very interested. And I'm sure we'll get a flashback from Bonnie and stuff about her past and Kuma's involvement, and we'll all care for Kuma. Kuma's going to be the next Corazon or something like that, right? And I'm interested to see if we'll have a rematch just for the crack of it with Zoro and Kuma, and if maybe maybe the Kuma Seraphim isn't, and we just get Zoro takes down the Kuma Seraphim as like a nod to their bark or something like that, right? And I think that would also be really cool. But it's interesting to see where this might go. You know, how is it going to be? What are they going to say about this? Is it Survey Kingdom, and talk about like how are they going to make it so the world government cares enough about that kingdom to where Bonnie's true identity scares Akainu, the guy who hates pirates with a passion, and he doesn't end up killing her when he gets the chance. He lets her go. So that backstory has to really emphasize why the Sorbet Kingdom is so important, and what Kuma means and stands for in the modern One Piece world. And I'm very interested to see that. Big Daddy Kuma is going to destroy his stuff, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have like, there's so many different options to this, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, Kuma, for example, right? We know the pacifistas and stuff. He was the original body. How did he meet Vegapunk? Why did he become a revolutionary? What was it he saw in the Survey Kingdom that made him want to become a revolutionary? Why did he pretend to be part of the government for a while? Like, what is it about Kuma? What's going on, and what's Bonnie's relation to it? Why did Bonnie decide to be a pirate instead of like working with the government to get to Vegapunk, or working with the revolutionaries directly? You know, all this has to be answered in this arc, or at least some of it to a degree, you know what I mean? And I'm excited to see what Oda does with this.